Yeah, Felicia Taylor joined in. Hello. Man.
What?
I don't have to have music.
I'm singing. I can't hum. Why I can't hum?
Cause we're not on there for this.
I can hum. Hiya.
Hello there. Good evening. Good evening.
What's that? Does it show it on your phone?
That's what I'm looking for. Y'all, give me a moment. It's been a minute since I've been on here, and there's been some changes apparently since I've been on.
Yeah, turn the volume down.
That's Josh. What's up, Josh? Good to see you, man. What's
Hey,
up,
Josh.
Eric? Good to see you, brother. Praying that everybody's doing well.
Hello, twin. Hey, Robin.
You gotta slow down. Look how fast you're going. Speedy Gonzalez.
Who got to slow down?
You.
Right.
Humming isn't allowed anymore.
How you gonna tell me not to hum? Let me sing for Jesus.
It's allowed. Y'all, excuse me.
Oh, thank you so much, Robin. I don't look like what I've been through. Come on. That's so churchy.
What up, Danielle? Your husband preached that thing yesterday.
I can't wait to watch the replay. Hey, Kiana. Hey, Miss Danielle.
It's good to see y'all
Tell
tonight.
your husband thank you again for filling in.
For sure, for sure.
Really appreciate it. I can't wait to watch the replay. Hey, Sharon. Oh, my gosh.
Kathy Robinson,
hey,
good to see you. Good. Hey, Shantaya.
No.
Miss Ross. I said her name.
Okay.
Miss Ross. I can't say the name.
Hey,
right.
Pastor
Love you more,
Marianne.
Danielle. Love you more.
I can't see this. Can you prop it up?
You can see it over here.
It says
but
anonymous.
Then, oh, okay. How you gonna read mine?
Right here.
How you gonna read mine and yours?
Because I know your people. Oops. Because I know your
Aye.
people.
Hey, what up, Freddie?
Hey,
Good to see
Mr.
you,
Freddie. Can't wait to watch the replay and hear you speak.
I'm trying to get in the
Hey,
camera.
Lene.
Turn it just a little bit more. There we go. All right, y'all. We're gonna give a few minutes here.
Hey, Katrina, I miss you.
To let some more folk in.
Yes, ma'am. God protected us, girl.
Which Katrina?
Our Katrina.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Hey, Katrina. Yes.
Not ours, but
Katrina, forgive me for that Sunday you came, our first Sunday in the building. I didn't get to come over and speak to you properly, so please forgive me. I love you, and it's good to see you.
And God said your sins are forgiven.
What's up, Alicia?
Who's Alicia?
From
Periscope.
okay. Our Periscope.
Hi, Alicia. Hey, Whitney. Hey, Store.
This thing is a little bit delayed.
It's okay.
Well, if we missed anyone, please forgive us.
Charge it to our head, not to our heart.
Charge it to our computers and not our. We're on two different.
I should have put my data on. Is it too late?
No, it's actually you're okay. I think it's better because I have a higher chance of.
She said I'm y'all's treat.
I have right. I have a higher percentage of like my system failing and you staying connected to the internet. But anyway, y'all, it's good to see y'all. Look, when I do my periscopes and all that kind of stuff, periscopes, Lord. When I do my lives and all that, I always got to pray before I start.
You can still pray.
We're going to pray, and then we're going to jump right in.
Come on.
Thank y'all for joining us tonight, all right? Let's go ahead and pray. Lord, we just thank you right now for this beautiful day. We thank you for your Holy Spirit. I thank you for this chance and opportunity to share our testimony, just to share the things that you have done, the things that you are doing, and the things that we are expecting or looking forward to you, for you to do, God, as you promised. We thank you for every person that is tuned in now on this live And I thank you in advance for every person that will tune in after the fact and that will be uplifted, blessed, life changed, or just receive encouragement from this testimony that we're going to be sharing tonight. We just love you, God, and we thank you for just everything. It's in your son, Jesus' name we pray. Did you want to add to it? Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. So look, hey, Vaquetta, good to see you. Anybody else who missed? All right. What you want to start with? You want to start with the events happening before delivery, or you want to say that for another time?
What events? We can share that afterwards. Because that's the icing on the cake, I guess.
No, that's the prelude.
Okay. Well,
That's
you
the
talk
prelude.
about that.
Okay, so, all right, y'all. So, of course, we're going to share, primarily my wife is going to share her testimony.
We both going to share together. We won.
For sure. The testimony of just everything that transpired with the delivery of our wonderful bundle of joy. But thank God for the laughter and the smiles through it all. But even before we got to the point of anticipating her arrival, I just want to share real briefly some things that transpired in our home.
So God first blessed us with
God
the
blessed
house.
us with the house.
Gave us confirmation that this was going to be the house while we were in the house. Like we've been receiving confirmation up until today of this is where God told us to be. We asked, to be full transparent, we asked God, do we buy or do we rent? Mm-hmm. God said rent. Don't buy yet. If you know if you're in Austin, then you know that it is a seller's market right now, not a buyer's market.
I was just talking to Nicole. She said, "Hey, same thing happened in Dallas."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of people in California moving to Austin and paying a lot of money for these houses, and I'm not.
What up, Bree?
Putting out that much money for no house.
Yeah.
If I'm doing that, it's gonna be a house that I love and
we staying in the return. And
that we living in or whatever. But he told us to rent, and we did live in. Well, I can share where we was living.
We were in Cedar Park.
We were in Cedar Park.
How you gonna tell the testimony that you don't want to tell?
Well, I don't want to say where we at now to everybody.
Okay, we in the world. We're living in the world.
But yeah, so we were living in Cedar Park. We were living in an apartment.
What's up, Joshua? Good to see you, man.
And yeah, we were living in an apartment. And so, of course, with having a baby, our family growing, we, of course, wanted something bigger. We still want all of our kids to have their own bedroom, their own space. And just, of course, just something bigger. Especially with me working from home. I was working from home in our bedroom. I had an office desk in our bedroom, which is not a smart idea because you're working, you see your bed, and you want to take a nap all the time.
We'll talk about that another day.
But yeah, so God told us to expand our horizons and look outside of Cedar Park. Once we did that, we found this beautiful home that we're in now.
With reluctancy, because we didn't want to leave Cedar Park.
Yes, we did not want to leave Cedar Park. Where we're at now is a homey feeling, which is nice, but it's just not what I'm used to as far as just being convenient. Mm-hmm. Like of like the mall and stores just like minutes away.
But we're here.
And we're grateful
so far,
and we're thankful. And we do love the people in this neighborhood. It really is nice. It is growing on us. But we found this beautiful home. And actually I was able to tour it first because Kenny was at work, so I toured first.
What's up, Lisa?
And it had a home office, like it had an actual den where I could work from home because my job approved for me to work from home full time even after the baby arrived. The kids, everyone will continue to have their own room, and they also have their own living area, nice big yard. So I told God, if this house is for us, keep it hidden. And he did. He kept it hidden because if you looked online, it looked like someone had already purchased it. But then one day we got this phone call, and I don't really answer calls that I don't know, but God was like, answer that phone call. So I answered it, and it had a New Orleans area code. So I figured it was my uncle because he had just got a new number. But I answered it, and they said, "Hey, we noticed that you toured one of our properties. We just want to know if you're still still interested." And I was like, "Yeah, I really love the house. My husband loved it too, but it's showing that it's already leased out to someone else." And she was like, "Oh no, actually, we took it off the market because we wanted to do some last minute. We want to continue doing some more repairs. So it's actually still available." So I was like, "Wow, God, you kept your word. You kept it hidden for us." So we applied for it, got the house, moved in the same weekend that we moved into our church building.
So we
Hey Jesse,
actually
hey
were
Crystal.
able.
That's Joy's godparents. Gotta say hi.
Yeah. Now, for somebody who didn't want to tell that testimony until later, then told y'all all the details, I wasn't going to go there.
I didn't share all the details.
You told a lot, but nonetheless, so we were blessed to move to the house, and we were able to do it how we wanted to do it. Take the entire month of November basically to try to move in, since my wife was expecting, and I want her to move a bunch of stuff, so I had time to get stuff in, and then spend one day getting everything in. So the very last day, week before Thanksgiving break, the very last day, we got everything cleared out of the apartment. Got the apartment.
It was my last day of maternity leave.
Yeah. What's up, Miss Barnes?
Or the beginning of maternity.
And so, yeah, y'all excuse me looking real country out here with these shorts on. I didn't realize you could see them on my live. But y'all excuse it and everything. But anyway, so we got all moved in, got into the house, starting to get settled, getting a few things situated. And then we sat down, had dinner that evening, sent the kids up to go and start their showers and all that for the evening. We started hearing a big, loud noise of water passing, and almost started sounding like it was gushing.
Yeah.
Like a waterfall of some sort. And so it just got louder and louder as they, as Calix finished his shower, and then Kai got our shower, and then my wife got ready to come and check. She made sure everything was good. She was good. Came and sat back down. And then it just got extremely louder. And so I was like, well, let me go check because something ain't right. As soon as I got up from the dining room table, my wife started yelling, babe, come back. There's water pouring from the ceiling light, or from the, the light fixture in the dining room.
Yeah.
And y'all, it was pouring fast, but I thought that I could basically grab some towels and some sheets or something.
I said, grab a trash can.
Yeah, and try to curate a barrier of some sort to collect the water and not let it go everywhere else. So I started grabbing stuff. As I'm grabbing stuff, my wife got up. She went to grab her phone and started trying to call, somebody, or call the landlord, all this kind of stuff. And as she was walking, all of a sudden the water started pouring from the living room light fixture. I want to say long story short because we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
But we couldn't catch the water. I mean, at first we started off frustrated, but then all we could do was laugh.
Water was coming everywhere, y'all. I was rolling laughing.
Like it was.
I was like, look, ooh.
What up, DeAndre? So it was coming from our light fixtures, from the air vents, from the walls, and it was just pouring literally the whole entire downstairs. What's up, Devonay? Ended up having about 3 to almost 4 inches of water.
The whole downstairs.
And so that definitely was not fun at all for our first official night in our God-blessed, God-provided home. And
it was the first time with all of us.
Yeah. And so, of course, lots of questions in my mind, and in our minds, like, okay, God, this is supposed to be what you said, and you promised for this season, this is what you provided.
And I'm 38 weeks pregnant dealing with this.
38 weeks
that
pregnant.
was a stressful part.
Yes.
Was all the downstairs was flooded. It's in the middle of the night.
And all her stuff was laid out. Like her nursery wasn't set up fully upstairs yet because she would come when she gave birth to baby girl. What the idea was to be coming up the stairs and trying to take care of her,
So part of her stuff was downstairs in our bedroom.
Yeah, we had part of the master set up for her bassinet and different things of that nature. So just a huge added stress to, we got to get ready to get, because also the week prior to that, we ended up finding out that they moved her due date. They moved her due date from the 6th of December, and it was questionable if it was going to be on the 30th or the 1st or sometime within that time frame. But they had to move her due date up. So it was just like, look, we don't have any planning room or time to try to figure out what to do next.
Yeah. The property manager was like, well, we'll release you from your lease with no added fees, and you can find somewhere else. And I was like, I'm 38 weeks pregnant. I ain't got time to be looking for something else. And we just finished like unpacking everything. So if I wasn't pregnant, and if it was just us two with no kids, then yeah. But we had just got their room settled. Like, they was excited about their rooms, and they had their own living
in the
area.
whole flood, they in their rooms playing, dancing, and watching TV and all of that. And we downstairs trying to scoop water out, trying to find the pipeline to cut the water off or whatever, the valve.
And after the fact, like, we could have called 911.
Yeah.
But when you're in the heat of the moment, like, it was a lot going on again. I'm 30 weeks pregnant. I wasn't even thinking about, we can call 911. We did call the city, and we couldn't get a hold of them. And we had a friend of ours that was like, you could have called us. And I was like, we wasn't thinking. It was a lot going on. But
hey, Apostle Henderson.
But we had someone come. They shut off the water. And so we just slept upstairs that night. And the people came to like just check out the damage that next day. They had to bring in a bunch of fans and dehumidifiers.
Wish I could show y'all the pictures. Literally, like, a big old hole is in the roof of our living room right now, and table is gone. Our dining room table's gone. Sofas are jacked up. Our headboard, all that kind of stuff is jacked up. Thank God for insurance. You know, but you don't necessarily want to have to use it if you don't have to.
Right.
But yeah, so all of that was right before Thanksgiving break. We went into Thanksgiving break Airbnb and basically staying in a few hotels and so forth. Again, unfortunately, having to utilize that aspect of the insurance.
Yeah, but insurance did cover that. So we did stay a couple nights at my mother-in-law's house but you know, of course, it's Thanksgiving, so a lot of people have plans to come to visit. So, hey, cousin. And so we spent a couple nights at my mother-in-law's house, which was awesome. Like I wish I could have stayed there the whole week, but she had family coming in. And so we thank God for, again, insurance. We stayed at different Airbnbs. We didn't want to stay at a hotel and just be all crowded in a room together, but we did the Airbnb so that, again, the kids will still have their own room.
Feel like a home.
Still feel home and not like to this. But, you know, I know a lot of people say kids are resilient, and I kind of hate that phrase because not all kids are. But they did handle it well. They just saw it as a vacation, so it was. They enjoyed themselves. I was more stressed again because pregnancy and just, you know, how long is the repairs going to take place in our home, because I don't want to come home from the hospital with a baby.
And it was 30-something fans, probably more than that. And humidifiers and all of that.
And it was loud.
Downstairs.
They had to turn the heat up in our house to 90 to help dry everything. So it was impossible to live here. The noise was unbearable. Even if staying upstairs, like, that was not an option. So we went into is that everything with the house?
Yeah.
So we went to the hospital to be induced with fans still.
Yeah.
In our house.
And not knowing
how long it was going to take
place afterwards.
Also, it's the holidays, it's Thanksgiving, so a lot of things are also delayed as well. So,
and innocently, people trying to help us figure it out, but that's why, because I couldn't even tell my family, everybody in my family, my mom knew, but sometimes it's like,
it's a lot.
Help can be stressful.
Yes.
And I know that sounds weird, but people really want to help, but it's like, I have to make sure that I
gotta do A, B, and C before you can help out with elemental P.
Exactly.
Because God's gonna do the X, Y, and Z.
And
Come on. That was good.
Okay. Amen. It was good. But then not only that is, sometimes people don't even know that they're saying things that's offensive in your moment of help. Like, y'all should have did this.
Y'all should have. Y'all should have. And it's like,
well, in that moment, the shouldas wasn't on the tables. All right. In that moment, it was, I have to do this and I have to do it this way and so forth. And so thank God, though, for our church. They already started pulling together to help in ways because we are limited on access. Well, right now, today, I had access to the stove a little bit, but
it's just not the same.
It's dust, and we have to wait till insurance and all that. All is settled and so forth before we can move stuff out, and then they have to come in and repair. So there's going to be limited aspects of the home that we are having access to.
Redo some of the floors.
But God, let's get to the bird.
Oh yeah, so
I'm gonna hold it together. I'm gonna hold it together.
So we went in on November 30th, Tuesday, to be induced.
I'm gonna come down lower. Hold on, y'all. Excuse my ghetto moment. Go ahead, keep
That
talking.
ain't ghetto.
Because I'm too high and I want these shorts out the picture. Keep talking.
I'm waiting till you get settled.
Oh. All right, there we go. Much better. Okay.
Excuse me. So November 30th, that Tuesday evening, went in to get induced for labor. That evening went. Come on.
Even keep going.
My family know. So that night went okay. That first night at the hospital went okay. That morning went okay. I was only like half a centimeter dilated before I went into the hospital. Baby was head down the whole time. What else? That Wednesday morning, they gave me Pitocin. That's the medicine that they put in your cervix to soften and get it ready for labor. And then I started having like these extreme contractions. Like they were hurting bad. Like it felt like one big long contraction. I didn't get any break. Hey, Swore. And so they gave me fentanyl. And so that medicine, it only works for an hour, and then you can start feeling the pain again. So, and they told me that fourth time you take it, like it's going to like wear off. So that was some good medicine, but it wore off. I was like, it was some good medicine, but it was wearing off. And then so finally, like right before, like it got even more intense, and I was crying, I was screaming, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
At one point, she said, "Tell them to do whatever they got to do to get this baby out of me." I was like, oh my God.
I was screaming, hollering. I was shaking. My husband was trying his best to console me. Get the epidural. So that
y'all, I know. Let's expose that thing.
What?
I was really just trying to be a good little husband and talk about, babe, you're doing so well.
I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that I'm doing good. I'm not doing good.
I was like I'm a punk out here.
Okay. I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to support. But then, 15 minutes later, the nurses came in. It was two of them, and they started checking on her and making sure. They was like, oh, you're so brave. You're doing so good. You're doing. And she was
whose
like,
side are you on?
And she was like, thank you so much. I'm sitting over there like,
because you my husband, you have to say that.
No, I don't have to say that. I could have just been over there praying and shut my mouth.
Anyway, so
okay, keep going.
They gave me the epidural, and house. I was like, oh yes. And then of course with the, with the epidural, like I think it's from the I think it's from like the waist down. You can't feel your legs at all, and I couldn't. It was numb. And so at that point, so they had these they have these monitors, and so they're monitoring
the whole time like it's a movie.
Yeah, my heart rate, my blood pressure, and baby's heart rate, and the fourth thing I forgot. And so
contractions.
And the contractions.
Them things was.
It was off the charts.
Straight 90s, just straight 90s and hundreds.
Just
and
up. I was like, gosh.
Something ain't right.
Right. And so after that, all the nurses came in because they noticed her baby's heart rate was, it's called, what is it? The non-reassuring fetal heart rate. That's the technical medical term. So they all came in, and if it's down for X amount of minutes, that's when they rush you for emergency C-section. Heart rate went back up. They kept flipping me in different positions. Everything got back stable, and then they left the room. And so, why my grandma awake? So they left, and then they came back because it happened again a couple hours later. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, I knew what was about to happen. Took my glasses off, gave it to my husband. I knew they was going to wheel me back in the operating room because back in April, May, God gave me a vision of me in the operating room, and it was like a bloody massacre. And I knew at that time when I was in the hospital, like I knew everything that was going to take place. I knew they was going to have to operate on me. Like I knew all of it because God showed me and he prepared me for it. So I just took my glasses off, gave it to my husband. I was like, okay, let's go. And I was so calm. And I was so calm, nothing, like I wasn't freaking out because I knew God showed me this. That means he's going to be with me throughout this whole process. So they wheeled me back. They had gave you some like scrub type of stuff.
I started getting dressed. I was standing up there in all this paper and just ready and waiting for them to come and get me. Let me interject this here. You know, as a pastor, as a prophet, you know, as a man of God, when she told me she had the dream.
Oh yeah, talk about that.
About the bloody massacre and all this kind of stuff. I was like, God gonna do it. Let me tell it.
I'm saying you and a couple of other people.
I was like, we don't have to be that story. It don't have to be that. God can do it. And, you know, I'm really praying and believing God because I guess my mind just went straight to harm for the baby and even, you know, harm for her as well. And so I'm like, you know, God, that ain't got to be it. Again, another situation like, here's the promise. Here's what you said, God. It's not turning out like I thought it was going to turn out.
It's not over.
And so, you know, it just, in the moment, I was kind of in shock when she handed me her glasses and I was looking at her.
Mika text me that, whatever you're talking about, text me.
And I was looking at my wife's face and I could see the calm and that gave me some reassurance for everything getting ready to take place.
And I'm normally not calm.
No, she would, seriously, she's not calm like that at all. No.
So I was like,
my blood pressure up.
That peace beyond, the peace that surpasses all understanding, that's what I really had that night because I was so calm and so chill, like, all right, let's go.
And so I'm standing there again in all this sheer paper, waiting, and I just knew, like, wait a minute, it shouldn't take this long. So I go and stand in the hallway.
Hey, Jennifer.
Because I can't stand behind this door and not. Like, I'm standing there and I'm looking down at the nurse's station in this Smurf uniform and waiting for them to come tell me something. And then finally I start hearing all these announcements.
Code blue, code red,
code gray, everything.
Code gray.
Every code that the hospital had.
They were saying it that night.
They were
really that
me.
whole week.
And then I was hearing sirens outside and everything. I was like, Jesus. So it took everything. And her mom's in the room. You know, she was trying to keep herself together. And I was trying to keep my composure together or whatever. Because I just,
Jen.
could feel that something was going on
you
beyond me.
You got to say Jenny from the block.
Yeah, what's up, Jenny from the block? And so, finally a nurse came and she was like, sir. And she was very calm, very consoling.
No, code gray at this hospital is when a person is violent. Maybe it's different at but theirs was somebody being violent. So a shooter. That would make sense.
Okay, so As I
Hey,
was saying,
Danielle.
the nurse ended up telling me, sir, I need for you to step back into the room. I promise you we're going to let you know what's happening here shortly. So it took everything in me not to pull out my restaurant, get things together voice. And,
You mean your black boy?
no, just my, let me pull things together voice.
Okay. Hey, Vanessa.
And step back into the room and just depend on God and his peace in that moment. So I stepped back into the room and then.
Oh, so I'm in the operating room. So the anesthesiologist gave me some anesthesia. She was like, "Do you want to go to sleep?" I said, "Yeah, I don't want to hear this," because I knew what was going to happen. Count backwards from 10. I made it to 8.
Lord.
So yeah, I was out, and during that time,
And during that time, I was waiting and waiting. Finally, a nurse came and she said, just wanted to let you know that baby is fine. They're getting her cleaned up. We're going to bring her out soon. I'm like, okay, praise God. You know. And next, like, okay, well, that's a promise. Amen. Praise God. They was like, she had her heart rate was real low, whatever, and they had to give her a little assistance to get her kicking, to get her, screaming, basically.
She did not cry when she came out.
So anyway, I'm waiting, and they're like, they're still operating on your wife, and that's all they told me. And so I was like, okay. So I stepped back in, and I'm sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. Still no baby, still no wife. So I stepped out in the hallway again, just to let them know, don't forget about me down here. And so when I stepped out in the hallway, I see one of the nurses coming down the hallway, and this is how I'll tell you just how unorthodox this moment was. Is because they're technically not supposed to walk around the hospital with the baby just loose like this.
They sure ain't.
They had our baby wrapped up and swaddled real well, and the nurse was holding her like this in her arms. And so I was like, something ain't right. Something ain't right.
But you didn't know that was our baby at the time.
Well, I felt it was because the
Okay.
way she was walking, and all the nurses station was like, oh my God, look at her.
Hey, Uncle
and
Andre.
I could hear them way down the hallway saying, look at her, looking like nothing happened. She's just all calm. And I was like, I was raising my eyebrows like, if y'all don't bring my baby down here. So finally they ended up bringing her to the room. She was quiet. She was mute.
She was not
She
crying.
wasn't saying nothing. I was trying to make her cry for literally the whole day because she just would not make a noise. And so that was a little concerning because I didn't know how, severe everything and all the stress she went through, if that was something that, would be long going or ongoing.
Yeah.
So I literally was praying, Lord, let her cry, let her fuss. So she finally, the next morning, let out a little,
Excuse me.
and that's it, So I'm like, look, I'll take that. Let's go. That and for the win.
That's because I was praying, God, I don't want a whiny baby. She
so-
only cries when she wants some. She good, baby.
So yeah, so she was fine, weighed in fine, 7 pounds, 7 ounces, morning 6:11 p.m.
You giving her
No complications.
all her information.
We did online already.
No, we
no
did
complications or anything like that. My bad. So
Don't steal my baby's identity, okay?
yeah, so as the evening still progressed, it was probably like almost 2 hours into the delivery or that part of it. Finally, they come back, and one of the doctors is saying, sorry, Mr. Smith, I want to let you know that your wife is still undergoing surgery. There are some complications. She is still bleeding out, and they're trying to get the blood to stop flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, praying, trying to hold it together and all of this, because I knew, and this was the disheartening part for me, because I knew what we had talked about and the plans and the things that she wanted to do. So I was trying to save like the skin-to-skin contact, the latching her, to feed her and all her first feeding and all these sorts of things that I knew that she desired and wanted. I was trying to hold on to those things. So long story short, I went that whole night. Can I tell it tonight?
Tell it.
Can I tell it?
Tell it.
I went that night as a single father again. And told God, this is not the promise. This is not what you told me. This is not what you had planned. And so, I'm like, I need updates. I need, I need something else more to this story because this is not it. And because of the different codes that were still being shouted out,
be quiet.
and it wasn't what
She said, "You better tell it."
the codes that were being shouted out, and I knew it was for her. It wasn't no wondering. Like I knew it was for patient
all the other
in room 209. Like I knew it was for my wife. It was just adding more and more stress. And they did later on. They ended up mentioning and confirming that they were about to flight her out of there.
Yeah, I was out.
To a different facility up downtown. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And here I am. Thank God, like I said, baby girl was quiet, too quiet. Trying to feed her. She barely ate. So that was concerned too. But I feel like too she was waiting on her mom.
She was waiting on me, baby. Waiting on me.
And so we did end up spending that night without mom. And I did not know until early that morning around 6 a.m. that her mom was in ICU. And they would then bring me over to go and see her. And it was not a pretty sight. So do I keep going and then you tell her everything, or you want to?
Well, how I ended up in the ICU. So first, she was head down towards the whole end of the pregnancy, even when we got to the hospital. But she flipped at the last minute, and I felt her flip because I was like, something's up in my rib cage. What is this?
Yeah.
She had flipped. So she was breached. And we had to do emergency C-section because of the non-reassuring fetal heart rate. I feel like she felt the stress of what was going on, so she was like panicking. I also had I don't know how to pronounce this.
Yes, Apostle Kimberly. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much. I don't know how to pronounce this word. Oh, yeah. The umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck.
I think that's why she was doing so much. Did that huge flip because she was fighting herself.
And Satan was trying to take her out because he tried to do the same thing with me. Because the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck as well. But she's here and she will speak. Amen. She will prophesy. Amen. And she will rebuke Satan in Jesus' name. Okay, so... Amen. Also,
I gotta say it like that, but amen. It's out there. Amen. Thank you,
there was also an excessive amount of amniotic fluid. That's the fluid that surrounds the baby in the uterus. That happens to less than 2% of pregnancies. So very rare what we experienced with her. Also, I have postpartum hemorrhage. That seems to happen to every woman common, in the world, especially women of color. So I had excessive bleeding, and so there was a lot of trauma to my uterus. Also, I have 6 fibroids on my uterus. And also, God didn't show me this in that one vision that I shared about, but he kept telling me throughout the pregnancy that after I give birth to her, somehow the fibroids was going to be gone. Somehow. I didn't know how, but I just knew like the fibroids are going to be gone. So I had a lot of trauma to my uterus, and my blood, it just wasn't clotting, which is also very rare for that to happen. So they tried different methods because after you push out the baby, that uterus is supposed to come back down. Mine wouldn't. It just kept contracting. So they tried massaging the uterus. They tried 4 or 5 different medicines to bring the uterus back to its normal size. I had multiple blood transfusions, 8 units of blood. So
8 transfusions and 5 additional plasma transfusions. So I bled out, and every unit that they would bring in the blood, I would keep bleeding that out. Yeah. But they kept trying, because on our way to the hospital to be induced, we said, God, touch these surgeons' hands, because I knew a surgeon was going to be operating on me some kind of way, based off the vision that God gave me. So I was like, God, lead their hands, work through them. So, because my uterus just wouldn't stop contracting and there was a lot going on, they had to make the decision to go ahead and give me a partial hysterectomy. So, unfortunately,
when I'm at peace about it now. Before I was like, I ain't gonna be able to have no more kids. But after what I just went through, I kind of don't want to get pregnant again. I'm okay with that. You know, I wanted to have more, but that's okay, God. If you want me to just have just the one. So I had a partial hysterectomy, and they also removed one of my fallopian tubes. So I had 6 fibroids on my uterus. They removed my uterus, which means I will not be able to have any more children naturally. So this is it. Don't ask me when are we going to have more kids. I'm going to politely tell you, actually, my uterus was removed, so I will not be having any more kids.
And I'll step in and tell them that no, you're going to just go in and tell them that.
Yeah, so to make them feel bad. Because,
don't make them feel bad.
Well, no, because
I know what you mean, though.
We have to be very careful when we talk to women about when they having kids. Yeah. Like, even with a friend of ours, she had...
I'm about to poke my baby head. You excited?
Ours.
I know.
He act like it's his.
I'm just playing. Now your post really be my baby and me and my baby matching today.
Don't ask no questions. All right. So even with our friend, like, she just had a miscarriage. Yeah. And I even had to be careful with, like, now I want to go back to her and make sure, like, hey, when I share with you about a different method to having a child,
make sure it wasn't insensitive.
I want to make sure I'm not being insensitive, because she went through a very traumatic miscarriage. And so now I want to go back to her and make sure, like, hey, during the whole time you were pregnant, it's different when you're the mama.
I know.
She a part of me. But no, it's out of love. Like, yeah.
True.
But I also want to go back to her and make sure, like, hey, I want to make sure I was not insensitive after you lost the baby, that I wasn't pushing for you to have another one so fast. Another experience. Yeah. So, but just to put that out there, like, to any woman, like, when they first get married, don't ask when y'all having kids. You don't know what that person been through. You don't know how many miscarriages that person has had. Some people don't want to adopt because they actually want to have the feeling of having the baby inside them. Some women, they actually want to go through having, a living child inside of them. Right. Some people, they do the surrogate route. Some people, it ain't for them. I know there's different methods out there, but just be very sensitive. And just don't even ask that question. Get out from between women's legs. Quit asking them about their babies.
Hold on. Amen. So, yeah. Thank God. I remember.
I'm not finished.
Okay.
So, I had multiple blood transfusions. And then I had, because I lost so much blood, I was diagnosed with anemia. I'm not proclaiming that I have it.
Amen.
Because I was diagnosed. And so that means I have a low count of red blood cells, and that's needed to carry oxygen, from our lungs to the rest of our body, if y'all paid attention in science class.
Okay.
I also had a condition that affected my blood from where it wouldn't clot, where it wouldn't stop bleeding and it wouldn't clot up, and that can lead to a massive bleeding in other places, which again is very rare. That happens.
Pray for me, Shamika.
And then also I had pneumonia. That's when your air sacs inside of your lungs is filled with fluid. And then I also had acute respiratory failure, where there's just not enough oxygen in the blood. So I had everything, and a couple of things I named is very rare that it happens. One of them, it only happens to 2% of pregnancies.
And so they didn't tell me all of this stuff, y'all. Like, they did come and tell me about the unfortunate emergency hysterectomy that they had to perform, and y'all, literally the doctor came crying to tell me.
Yes.
She was so disappointed. It was 5 different doctors. about 10 different nurses.
I had an anesthesiologist. I had a critical care doctor, an ER doctor, emergency medicine doctor, a gynecologist, an oncologist, an internal medicine doctor, a maternal doctor, and a pulmonary doctor.
Yeah, so it was literally probably close to 20, 25 different people in the room. One of the first doctors came who we hadn't met yet. She came to tell me about everything that was taking place, and she came with tears in her eyes, and she was just saying how this is Dr. Voss.
Okay.
And she was saying how, she's so sorry that, you were still they couldn't get the contraction to stop. They did everything. They tried to lock it into something and all this kind of stuff they were doing. So she was really, really just trying to, let me know that they did everything they could.
Talk about our doctor. She was...
Yeah, I'm going to get to her.
Okay.
And so she was, just explaining to me and Shaquana's mom, everything that was taking place. And so I'm just like, okay, just whatever you have to do to save her life. Like, that's what's important to me. Just whatever you have to do to save her life, then that's what's, I just repeated myself.
God had to rebuke me because before I went in the operating room, I was going to tell Kenny if something happens.
I know. I'm glad you didn't, and God rebuked you.
He sure did. He had to remind me. He reminded me we're both going to come out of this.
Yes.
Because I thought that, because I knew that I was going to come out, but I didn't know if she was going to.
I knew that I was coming out, you was coming out, and the baby was coming out.
But that 1%, the 99 was good, but that 1% was like the little doubt. And so I almost told Kenny, like, if something happens,
no, ma'am.
But God was like, don't.
Thank God.
Y'all both are going to come out. And I was like, okay, God.
So, so that doctor told me that. And then literally, as soon as she got ready to walk out the room, our doctor walked in. And she was also shaken up. And she was like, coming in. She was like, hey, I'm so sorry. And she didn't know the other doctor was in there. But she was shooken up. And she was just saying
this is my actual OBGYN.
She was saying how she's so sorry and all of that. She said her shift was over. And not only was her shift over, but she had left for the day, went to go tend to a medical need of her own child.
Yep.
Literally took her child to a doctor.
Hey, Kendall.
Got a call. What's up, bro? Got a call from the hospital about Shaquana and what was going on. And she literally hurried in the home from the doctor, dropped her son off, and ran to the hospital, like sped to the hospital to come and be a part of making sure that everything was fine. And so she came and
she believes in Jesus.
Yeah, she came and she told me the news. Once she told me the news, it was a lot, y'all. Like, I was okay. And this is what got me. One of the nurses, who was also a believer too, she had the baby.
The Hispanic lady?
Yes. She had Joy, and she was checking her vitals and all of that, literally about a feet or two in front of me, because she wasn't going nowhere. And then all of a sudden, while Dr.
stealing babies.
Dr. Yu is telling me all this information. I didn't say the doctor's name.
That's okay.
While she is telling me all this information, this nurse, I guess Holy Spirit just told her he needs some more ministry. So she put that little hand on my right shoulder and started rubbing, and then that just extracted every tear that I could muster up in that moment.
Extract.
Like, that just took me over. It just tilted me over. And it was very, very just emotional. I know just from the component of, I know she was asleep. So there was some peace in that, knowing that she was asleep, but then not knowing and having the option to say herself out of her mouth that I want this option taken away from me. It's one thing to say, tie my tubes, this is it. But it's another thing when it's...
Yeah, because your tubes can be untied. But when your uterus is gone, it's gone.
Yeah, it's like that's the option's just taken away. And so that, I think in that moment, just thinking about that longer than...
And if this was like baby number 4 or something, they said like it's a little bit easier having to make that decision. But when it's like a first-time parent, and then... Because at first I was like, man, like... Excuse me. My uterus is gone. I can't have any more kids. Yeah. Like, I always wanted to have a little boy. But God, I'm content and with with the decision that you made. My uterus is gone. My fibroids is gone. I don't get no more periods.
Right. So yeah.
No more cramps. Hallelujah, Jesus.
So, that was a lot to take in at that moment. And it's still, they didn't get her all the way stable. So it was a couple of hours later that they came back, and it was 3 doctors at this point. And then all apologizing. It was Dr. Voss again, Dr. You again, and then another doctor.
Dr. BG?
It was a guy. No, it was a guy doctor at that point. And they were all explaining the whole situation again. And they were saying Dr. BG is back there still trying to stabilize your wife. They're finally got the bleeding to stop. They're just stabilizing her. So I'm like, okay, thank God. So long story short, we were able to finally, because they were making it sound like she was coming out soon. But I didn't know where. I was just believing God miraculously she was going to come out and come in the room that we were in. Not thinking that it was just so much trauma in such a quick time frame that she wasn't going to be able to just come out. Like, ain't no way possible.
Yeah.
Even though there was some amazing recovery times. But I did not get another message until like close to midnight that they've gotten her stable. All the bleeding stopped. She's breathing fine. She's just still sleeping it off. And that she wouldn't be coming with us that night. So we moved to the postpartum room. I was able to get a little bit of sleep.
And thank God my mom was there too.
Yes, her mom being there did help a whole lot. More than I think she even knows. But
and Kenny's mom, she works in labor and delivery at another hospital.
And believe me, I was on the phone with my mom, and that helped me too.
Yeah.
Because when I called my mom, and my mom would tell you straight, "Oh, that happened. This happened. Blah blah blah. Whatever." Despite the severity of the situation that was not common that happened with my wife, the other stuff that she did console me on helped a lot, and I was able to sleep, for a few hours before baby girl got hungry again. All right. So then that morning, around 6 a.m.
December 2nd.
December 2nd, they came in and said I can go see my wife. And when I went to go see her, she literally did look dead. She did look dead. Like she had a tube down her throat and her face was extremely swollen. And that's just not the sight that you want to see.
And I was still restrained. Because
she was restrained,
just in case you wake up and you're in shock,
they
have to keep you restrained. So that also wasn't a pretty sight.
Yes. So that was very, very difficult to see. And again, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it, y'all. It was very difficult to see because I'm like, God, this is not the promise. This is not the promise. And so I know sometimes we get questionable of what God is doing because it doesn't align with what our vision is of the promise. And we only know in part, and we only know aspects of the story or the vision. We only know aspects of the vision, and we were ready to get to that point. But all the details is what's, strenuous at times or just disheartening at times. But I just had to keep holding on to what God said was the promise. And the picture y'all saw of us walking out as a family was the promise. The pictures you saw of my oldest kids getting ready, meeting their younger sibling was the promise. The fact that we're here and this whole marriage, all that is the promise. Tell it like it.
Come on.
All of it is the promise.
Y'all
don't know. I literally talked to somebody this week, just kind of apologizing over some things that was misconstrued about our even coming together. But it was the promise, and I had to go through. No, someone else was.
Oh.
It was.
Why are you apologizing?
Let me finish the
My
testimony. So I mean, literally the stuff we went through from questions. First of all, she didn't even want a wedding. She was fine with going to the courthouse, but God told me that we were going to have a wedding, and I had no penny to contribute towards the wedding. And it's not because I'm some lazy whatever son of a gun. But it was because God told me that it was the promise. He wanted to do it so that he could get the glory.
And then God told me on the separate, he actually gave me a vision of the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
He told
her the church. And as soon as she told me the vision that God showed her, I showed her the church.
And I was like, that's it. God showed me the church. He showed me the colors of the wedding because I don't like blue, but God wanted navy blue.
Hey, what up, Chris? It's my coworker.
Hey, Chris. And God wanted navy blue, and then he gave me the date. Even with my family, all y'all up on here, why you not having a June wedding? And I was like, God told me March 7th, so we're going to do March 7th. We had people thinking that we was rushing to get married just so we could have sex. I was like, well, if we wanted to have sex, we would have been having sex.
And let's stay there for a minute because I don't want to stay there too long. But anyways, there was nothing that took place before marriage. Because first of all, I did not want to get married again. I was not interested in it. I told God I'm not for it. But he promised me it. He promised me that he would bless me with a wife and that I will continue being the husband he has called me and made me to be. And so I had to trust him with that. And so then when I first saw her, I literally kind of in my head rolled my eyes at God because I was like, I'm not interested. Like,
Can't
I don't
resist this.
I was like, God, I'm not interested in marriage again. I'm not like, no, that's, I appreciate it, cohort.
Especially when you go through a divorce, and a public divorce,
in the church because
y'all
everybody
church
is
people
overcritical.
Y'all,
hold up. Hold on.
Y'all be really looking down on people that go through divorce. First of all,
sad. It's really sad.
It is
it's really,
permissible.
Really sad.
We've seen it in the Bible. Divorce isn't like this big sin where God won't forgive you. Sometimes God will allow marriages, and He will also allow that divorce to happen.
Buster said, "Let us speak."
What he said?
Let her speak. Your family said your family telling you to be quiet, and Buster said, "Keep talking."
They don't know, but Buster knows. But no, like sometimes divorce is, hey Akita.
It's such a negative because somebody
y'all be looking down on people, and then y'all always choose sides. When you shouldn't be choosing no side, but Holy Spirit. Some of y'all be choosing sides.
There we go.
And y'all really don't need to because y'all don't know the full story. So y'all really need to just be choosing the side of Holy Spirit and not be picking sides and run away with all the other stuff. But the church, some of y'all really are really mean when it comes to what's the word? Y'all just don't want nothing to do with people that's been through divorce, like they did something wrong. Yes, it happened. He got divorced and he's good, she's good. There's no drama or none of that stuff or whatever. And God will allow second chances.
He will.
And He will allow something new to happen, to be rebirthed in a second time marriage. And that's perfect.
And I had my ways. I had my moments of where, ain't no way in the world that I'm getting married again. And I had moments where I was believing again. And then I had stronger moments where I was like, no, it's just not at all possible. But I knew I would have more children. And so I just had to just say yes to God. And here's the thing. Here's the danger in saying yes to God, I guess. The danger is that when you say yes to God, He will work on your heart. He will fix you. Mm-hmm. And then He will also challenge you. He will challenge you and things that, you became complacent in and said, I didn't want to experience. He'll bring it up before you. Like He'll literally end up causing you to have to walk through something that's difficult. And so, again, this was the promise. And I knew that this was at the end. And I knew that that's even us moving into our house, everything that has transpired. Because people, unfortunately come up with their own stories and perceptions of things from watching from the outside. And it's like, you wouldn't even understand and know that we barely came out of pocket for our wedding. You wouldn't even want to know and understand the full story of how God is.
Prophet came and I was freaking out because I was like, the reason I didn't want a wedding was because I didn't want to put all that money into it. And then Kenny kept telling me, like, you don't have to worry about it. We're fine. We're good. God's going to make a way. And I was like, oh, he's so hopeful. Thank God for him. You're so optimistic.
Mr. Optimistic.
And then one of our friends who's a pastor and a prophet.
Listen, Danielle.
He had to tell me, like, don't worry about the wedding. God's going to take care of it. I was like, okay, my husband's saying it. This man is saying it. Then God had to show me Himself. Mm-hmm. And when He showed me the church, and I was like, Kenny, it's this church and it's green. And He showed me one green church. I was like, nah, it ain't that one. And then the other one, I was like, yes, that's it. Oh my gosh. And again, like down to the colors, down to the date of the wedding. And it happened the week before quarantine happened. We came back from our honeymoon and the stay-at-home order was set in place. If we would have gotten married, if we would have done June like some of my family wanted, we wouldn't have had no wedding. I knew it, Danielle. I knew it. And we in the same area now, so come on.
So, not like, y'all stop trying to explain your story to people who going to misunderstand you either way.
Jesus didn't explain himself to people.
It's sad because sometimes Jesus would literally give you a whole revelation about somebody, but you stick and hold on to something negative that you want to believe about someone. But anyway, even just how God blessed, even when our church, the testimony of that, because there's misconceptions and rumor spread and all of that I'm getting this whole cut of a big check from my church and I'm over here doing this and that. And I'm like, that's what favor do to you. To have people confused thinking that stuff is going on.
What's my middle name?
It'll have people confused thinking,
what's my middle
thinking
name?
This and
it's
that.
It's favor.
And
because you attached to me, we both win. Come on.
It ain't about you. It's about God.
Funny.
I'm just swearing. But anyway, so yeah, no, seriously, like it's all God. I mean, even with the way we got the church building, like
favor.
From having months free and to
we didn't have to sell no chicken dinners.
People,
because I don't believe in that.
You are talking over me, and I know you're excited about life, and you defeated Dad, but you gotta let me testify too, okay? But no, for real, y'all. Like God has really been good and faithful, and I cannot explain His part of it.
The joy of the Lord.
It's like you got to get that revelation from Him if you really want to know all the details of the story. But the thing is that He's not an exclusive God for us, or He is, what's the word I'm looking for? Have preferential treatment towards one person. God doesn't have a preference on the type of person. Like He blesses whomever submits, whoever desires and seeks Him.
To be transparent, it was hard at one point because I was like, God, all these other people getting houses and they don't pay tithes and they doing this and everything like that. And I was like, why come?
Right.
Why is this happening to us? Why? And God gave me that scripture. I think it's Psalm 37. But basically, like, don't look at what everyone is doing and what you think they prospering, but they really ain't. And so God showed me. Ooh,
you poked my baby head. Y'all, I'm gonna change her diaper. She didn't poke my baby in the head.
I have to get animated. I didn't poke her, but God has showed me I think it was last week. God showed me in a dream what my life would have been if I would have said no to God and yes to the world. Like, He showed me who I was going to be married to if I was walking in disobedience. Yes, I did.
Not married to.
I told you that I was going to be a sports wife. Yes, I did.
And I'm over here even athletic. No way.
Anyways, so,
but I can run for Jesus.
Okay. Let me finish my story. But He showed me who I was going to marry to and the type of life that I was living. And so either I was going to be, not have Jesus, but have all this fame and fortune. Or I was going to have God. And because really, if you have God, you have everything you need. So you don't have to chase the house. You don't have to chase the job. You don't have to chase the car. Like, literally everything is going to overtake you. And that's what happened ever since I moved to Austin. Because my family, again, they was against me moving to Austin. They was like, why are you moving there? We don't know anybody. We don't have family there. So why are you moving there? And I was like, God told me to come to Austin, Texas. So I came to Austin. And He has blessed me every step of the way, where my dream job that I've always wanted to work for, I never had to apply to work there. They actually contacted me. And so, even down to who I was going to marry, God showed me the person I was going to marry back when I was in high school. He said He was going to marry a preacher with 2 kids. And so here I am, married to a preacher with 2 kids.
Hi.
And
not an athlete.
Now me having a girl though, He did give me a name for a girl. He did tell me I was gonna have a daughter and to name her Joy. He did tell me that. And so, yeah, it's just really important that you really walk in obedience towards God, even when your family don't understand it. Nothing against my family.
It ain't nothing against
It's
nobody.
just I was their oldest grandchild, and so for me to move to Austin, Texas, it would have been different if it was Dallas or Houston. Let's be real. But when when I said Austin, they was like, "Why there? Like, why?" And they was against it. But now they see it. Like, it really took for the wedding for them to come down. Because even, like, you know, my family, we don't have big weddings. A lot of them are really small, or they go to the courthouse. Nothing against them. It's just that's what happens. And so when they came down, they saw the wedding, they was in the wedding. I think that was like their aha moment. Like, okay, I see it now. I get it now. So yeah.
So we're grateful for life.
But after the ICU.
After the ICU.
So I was in ICU. Baby was born Wednesday, December 1st.
And of course, she was trying to fight even with the trachea down her throat. Is that how you say it?
I was about to fight the.
I had to give her my phone for her to write stuff out, and she was giving orders. And she was giving orders. Shaquana family, y'all understand? She was giving orders, writing and trying to draw out the orders of what she wanted to get and what she wanted to happen. I'm like, Lord. So I took advantage of the moment and took the phone away and told her to calm down. I told her to calm down.
I couldn't talk for an hour and a half.
She was getting too worked up. Yeah, she had to be quiet. It was the hardest thing for her to do, is to be quiet for an hour and a half.
I didn't have no voice because of the respiratory failure.
Yeah.
And the pneumonia. But then, so I spent 2 nights in ICU. That very first day, I could only visit my daughter for an hour.
But that was amazing in and of itself, because
my first time seeing my daughter was the picture that my husband showed me on his phone.
And they literally wheeled her entire bed from the ICU to the postpartum room. Mm-hmm. And check this out. So it's like she technically did not have a postpartum experience. Mm-mm. She went straight from delivering the baby to ICU. Mm-hmm. So she technically didn't have, being in a labor delivery room and going through the process of, like, the lactation nurse came in and different ones to talk about, but she couldn't really understand fully because she was still under medications, still in pain, and all of that. I was
under oxygen. I had the oxygen. I was attached to the oxygen tank.
So her whole time of recovery was not a typical mother recover from a cesarean section or anything like that. It was her recovering from all the trauma experience after. Yeah,
that was really hard because I couldn't. I had really desire to breastfeed, but trying to breastfeed and also get my body back to healing. Like, I was like, this is too much. I don't have time to be pumping and breastfeeding every 2 hours when my body is hurting. I had to learn how to walk all over again. I had to learn how to breathe again. I had to learn how to do all this stuff. I had to learn how to eat again because I couldn't eat. Then I was on a liquid only diet, and then I just got my appetite back like a couple days ago.
On top of, are we going to our house?
Yes.
After we finish,
or are we going to my mother-in-law's house,
my mom's house,
and then we had some family like, you could come stay with us, and I was like, I appreciate you, but
COVID is still out there. You got a bunch of kids,
and I'm not trying to get her to get RSV or bronchitis, so I want to protect her so nobody can come around the first couple months until she's good. And again, like my husband mentioned, a lot of people, they really try to help, and I appreciate it. But sometimes it can be overwhelming because, I'm trying, like, even with my mom wanting to come down here, and for her trying to figure out was she gonna stay at our house or a hotel, and I was like, I don't know what the house gonna be like, so I can't really tell you. So it was a lot. It was a lot going on during that time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Amen. I don't know what I did. Okay, there we go. So all of that we experienced, or she experienced, and, this whole time, I'm taking care of baby girl, of course, with her grandmother's assistance, with Gigi's assistance, helping a great deal. And we trying to figure it out, y'all. So she just kept making strides, huge strides. Mm-hmm. They would give her a target. Hey, you need to blow through this. and that testimony's over here somewhere. But blow through this, you got to get to a certain number.
Like a aspirator. I forgot what it's called, but it's this little aspirator thing that you got to blow into, and you have to help. Like you have to basically help develop your lungs all over again. So I surpassed that goal.
And she was trying to rush to, have some other things where her body basically turned back on in areas and so forth. And
yeah, because I was on a catheter, and so I had to learn how to urinate on my own again. And yeah,
trying to get her appetite back and all those sorts of things.
And I had
she's
to
starting to get that back.
I had to poop on my own. Sorry, TMI, but I couldn't leave the hospital unless I could poop on my own. Finally, I was able to poop.
That is a normal, I think, cesarean thing. But
my poor husband had to change 2 diapers. Me and Joy. Another thing,
I had to clean 2 people, a whole adult and a whole baby.
You gotta make sure that you are equally yoked.
For a week.
You have to make sure you're equally yoked.
And I do it again if I have to.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Okay, come on.
Give me a kiss.
No, come on. The Saints are waiting.
Come here.
So a whole 2 weeks, Saints. The Saints are waiting. Babe, come on.
Are you denying me?
No, come on. All right, so Saints, that's too much. I don't like public.
You don't like PDA.
Not too much.
Anyways, what was I about to say? Oh, so wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, you have to make sure that you are equally yoked.
Touch a Lord.
Because I don't know, not too many men out there are gonna clean you up after you use the bathroom. Just being very transparent. Like, not a lot of guys are going to do that. So really think about that. Make sure you are married to the right person. Make sure you're equally yoked. That whole in sickness and in health, that's really true. Like, come on. So make sure you're equally yoked, because I can't imagine what it would be like if I was a single mother, to be honest. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to those who have to be at the hospital by themselves.
And I'm sure that wasn't your plan, but God saw you through it. I'm
Yeah,
saying to the single mother, I'm sure that wasn't your plan, but
And thank God that we have
come on.
families and a good support system that will help us
Say hello there,
and help y'all.
And say hello with your little fro. Your mama left your curls in and got a little fro.
Yes,
now.
you be calling them out.
Yeah, little baby fro. So yeah, y'all.
But I was in ICU for 2 nights. That first day, I only got to visit her 1 hour, and we had our skin-to-skin contact. And it was still kind of weird for me, because I was like, "Who is this little girl?" Because I just
you were robbed of that.
I didn't have the immediate push the baby out and boom, the baby's on your chest, and I didn't have none of that. My first time seeing her was on my husband's phone while I was in ICU. And they made an exception, allowed me to visit her, but it was only for 1 hour. And then that second day, I could only visit her for 30 minutes. So I didn't have, I really didn't feel that moment until we came home. And I was just sitting in the dark, and I was rocking her to sleep, and she was staring at me with those beautiful brown eyes, and I was staring at her, and I was like, wow, I'm somebody's mama. That's when it hit me. Yeah. And so sometimes those feelings that people was saying that, oh, you're going to feel this I was like, I didn't get to have that, because I was out of it, and she was with my husband and my mom for most of the time. So thank God for both of them for just stepping in and just doing what they could and everything like that. But yeah, I really hate that I just couldn't do the breastfeeding, because again, my body was trying to recuperate and recover, and it was just too much, and it was very stressful. So unfortunately,
but doesn't she look good, y'all? Look
you.
at her. You wouldn't even known that a few days ago she was just recovering from everything, literally like a train wreck. It's like she literally just. It's so much. I mean, everything was moving so fast that I was literally just astonished. I was amazed at just how quick and how fast she was recovering, and just how God did everything. So thank y'all so much for your prayers. Thank you so much for your concern. I was trying to respond to as many people as I could, and also staying stable myself. and all of that. But it really feels good to be on this side of the testimony.
Yes.
We still have a little ways to travel.
Ain't no funerals being planned over here.
Amen.
Not right now.
Still have a little ways to go in recovery as far as in our home, but
Yeah.
thank God for health. That's more important than the home. And so, just all your contributions, even some of you have blessed in ways that, it's just.
We had a lot of people that gave monetary gifts and gift cards to like DoorDash. And was it all
our church has already come through and in ways as well, just to help. And so we really appreciate all that. It really does help a whole lot. And thank God my job has been understanding. I was able to be blessed to spend the entire month with helping my wife recover. And that was a blessing because it was only supposed to be for a short time.
Because, in the education, like, they will not let you take off right before a big break. And it's like, ain't nobody trying to go on vacation. Like, we trying to get better over here. And
I know, like, my wife is a go-getter, so I'm trying to help her take it easy because I already know the aftermath. If she try to go too fast, it's going to knock her down for a while. Hey, good to see you.
And I've been doing good.
But she has been doing good, restraining herself.
I ain't been doing nothing. I really want to do some laundry because that's my favorite chore, but I haven't done nothing.
She can't go downstairs and do that, so I'm going down there. And if that thing shrink or if it change colors,
you better do it at the right temperature.
We're going to be all right because she's still here. No, I know how to wash clothes. I'm just being funny.
Yeah.
But,
he just lets it sit in the dryer for days. That's all.
That's common.
I don't like that.
That happens.
But that creates wrinkles. Just when they come out, as soon as it's done drying, take it out so you can fold it.
On this live tonight.
Okay.
But I'm not the only one. It's others who also do laundry in their timing. But anyway, we love y'all so much. I don't think we're going to be here all night, though. But we thank you for the prayers.
Yes.
And your concern and all of that as well. And for waiting respectfully for us to share the details of the testimony. So many aspects I know that we've forgotten, and they'll come up later. But I know God orchestrated everything. We had janitors, other nurses, even when we were going to check up appointments.
Nurses on other floors. Oh, we heard about you.
They were like, yeah, we heard about you. And like one of the janitors was like, oh my God.
They was in the room. They cleaned up the blood.
She was like, I never seen anything like it. She was like, the last thing I saw, the person didn't make it. She was like, you're so blessed. You're so lucky and so blessed. I was like, yes, God did it.
And I told every single one of them,
God did it.
Was God.
God did it.
And thankfully, like, no, we don't know everybody's denomination. That doesn't matter. But for them to mention first, like, they were praying for us and thank God and yes, Lord. And we went, I had my follow-up appointment today, and we gave out cards to some of the surgeons that was in the operating room. And the doctor who had to make the decision to remove my uterus, she's not my doctor, but she was the doctor working that night. And she was just crying when she came in the room. And it was nice to, like, give the doctors a hug because it, like, felt human again, like, they're not like these robots that... Because there are...
She's not ready to pee again.
There are some people out there, like, you can't really share your testimony with them because they will be like, well, the doctor should have done this and they should have done that and all this different stuff. But again, God showed me the vision that this was going to happen. He carried us through it. And so I'm grateful to be alive. Joy, she's happy to be yes, everybody. You better rejoice. You better worship with them, girl.
Say hello, y'all.
Oh, look at my baby.
Y'all trust me. I normally have her real swaddled up, but she busts out of the
She doesn't like to be swaddled.
She doesn't like
She likes, this is how she sleep at night. She be ready to fight. She be like, she be like this.
Look, say hello to everybody.
She a fighter.
Say hello.
Look at her trying to weigh.
All right, we're not going to do like some of them people do. They be having their baby trying to walk at 2 months.
Kimmy, stop. Stop.
But anyway, yeah, so thank y'all for coming on and tuning in with us and sharing and rejoicing with us in this time of, just remembering what God did for us.
She a fighter.
For my wife. And so we're just glad to have my family with me. And
I'm surprised you didn't cry.
I man up on this one.
We done shared it with a couple people so far, so I feel like we went past the crying. Because it was hard. Because we even told Calix and Kai the story too. We let them know as well.
She's smiling.
Kai said, they took the baby out your stomach. You didn't feel like pushing?
Oh, Lord.
I was like, girl, come on. You said she what?
She was just smiling.
Oh.
But yeah, y'all, we're grateful.
Hey,
we're thankful.
You ready to eat?
It was something I was about to say, but I think we need.
Was it about the baby?
No, I was just gonna say I thank God for a church too. They got me on Sunday. I was not expecting that. I walked in and I thought I was, strong enough to go. My wife sent me to church. I wasn't gonna go, so I could stay here with her because she can't really move around like that.
But your wife said go.
So
I'm
I
a
went.
good wife. Come on.
That you are.
And I was like, it's about balance, and I think you need to be at church today.
So I went, and when I went, I did not know that I needed, just the prayers on that level. And they began to lay hands, and I was just tore down, just emotionally taken back. Really in thankfulness and gratefulness, and it was really a boost of strength for me. Because I know some of y'all may be familiar with this, but when you're in the moment, in the heat of taking care of business, you just go and you working off adrenaline, you working off of no sleep, you working, and you just doing what you do because you got to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And so for that person today that's in that place,
Come on.
maybe you're taking care of, gotta flip it, maybe you're taking care of your whole family, or you're doing this and you're trying to figure out things even for Christmas because it just means a lot to you to make sure your kids have, even though they don't need, God, I just pray Godspeed on you right now, that you would just be blessed in this time, that you be strengthened by the hand of God, knowing that you're not alone, that there are other people here who are also pressing through their seasons of struggle, seasons of change, season of newness, whatever it is that they're going through. Like, you're not the only one out here pressing on your own. So sometimes you do have to know how to strategically reach out for help. Even though all help is not welcomed help, there are some people who are willing to help, but you got to reach out. And trust me, we'll reach out to a few people. Hey, can you cook us this? Because we like when you cook that dish. Because our kitchen can't be used that much right now. So we've done those things. Amen. But, I just encourage you, though, just know you're not alone. So don't try to live this thing out alone. You got people who are willing to help.
God is here with you. That was Michael Jackson.
What's up, George Powell?
But what I was about to say was, what was I about to say? Oh, thank God for my husband, because no, for real. It's like certain things. Oh, I had 5 IVs in my arms. I had 3 in my left arm, 2 in this one. My wrist is still kind of swollen. So that was also hard, like having all those IVs in me and still trying to hold my baby. Like, that was really hard. And then, like, being at home because I can't do a lot. So I couldn't just go to her bassinet and pick her up because I can't bend down. Like, I had to have my husband bring her to me.
Mother Teresa rap.
And then also just when I was in pain, sometimes I had to take the pain medicine right before bed. And so, thankfully, my husband, he's been doing as much as he could.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, but still, like, my husband, sometimes he be pushing himself. And then, like, I was like, man, I want to do something too, but I couldn't. I had to, like, wait and make sure. And
I'm trying to ask me if I want my back rub. I'm like,
I'm going to give you a back rub tonight.
No, ma'am.
I want you
to heal. I want you to heal.
I'm already
But
healed.
I appreciate you pressing through. But no, like I'm saying, when it's go time and you need to do what you got to do, then I thank God for the strength to be able to do that. So it was an honor. It was a blessing. Remember that nurse? There was a nurse that told her it was an honor to be in the room.
Yes, one of the nurses, she said it was an honor to be in the operating room with you. Like, those Ascension Seton Northwest, that hospital.
Yes. If you need a good hospital, y'all go to Ascension.
Because a lot of people was like, why aren't you going to the hospital where Kenny's mother-in-law is at? Kenny's mom is at.
She's at the main.
Because she's at the main Seton Hospital, and she
works
also
in
works in labor and delivery. But God told me to go to this one, and I'm glad that I listened, because I was at another OBGYN, and I was this was last year. I was having a lot of pain. Something ain't right, and I know my body. Something ain't right. I'm gonna go to the hospital. I was like, something ain't right. Went to the doctor. She ignored it. And then I was like, I just don't care for her. I feel like she gave me the wrong advice. I feel like she should have done an ultrasound and checked something out, because something wasn't right. Something wasn't right with my menstrual. And so months later, I was working from home. I had a lot of pain, lost a lot of blood, so much blood. And I think I texted my husband, then I called the doctor and let him know, like, man, I lost a lot of blood. And so I took a picture of the blood that was lost, and I sent it to my husband. And then when I called the nurse, she was like, oh, come to this. And I knew what it was. Doctor, come to this. The doctor that I would normally went to was far out the way, and the nurse was like, I need you to come in now. Went in now, they did some tests. Come to find out, I actually had a miscarriage. And I told her that's what it was. And he said, after he was looking it up, he was like, that looks like a miscarriage. So I suffered a miscarriage last year in October. And then I also discovered at that time that I had 6 fibroids. And I was like, man, so that other doctor, when I was having this pain, she ignored it. And so I'm not going to say her name, but if you're in the Austin area, message me. I'll let you know. Don't go to this specific doctor. The Lord might have saved us since then. So. The Lord might have. Don't roll your eyes. I pray that she is saved in Jesus' name. Amen. But yeah, so I had a miscarriage October of last year. And then I remember I knew I was going, and God told me I was going to have a miscarriage. I wasn't upset or crying or anything. The only thing that made me upset was that my husband couldn't be at the doctor with me because it was COVID. You couldn't have no visitors with you. And so I'm grateful that I was actually pregnant this year, where you could have a visitor at all your doctor visits, and you could have 2 people at the hospital with you when you have a baby. Because last year, no one could be at the doctor visit with you, and only one person could be at the hospital with you. Mm-hmm. So it all worked out, again, for God's timing. Sometimes we question, like, why this, why that? But you really got to trust in God's timing. And that's what God actually gave me. I forgot the scripture. I think somewhere in Matthew, about when I was in prayer today, he was like, continue to pray, continue to wait, and continue to trust. And that's what I had to do during this time. So I'm just grateful to be alive. Every time I speak, what's up, Aaron? Every time I run into somebody, I'm going to always share my testimony of how God's going to get the glory out of this. Come on. I'm not going to hide. What? Your own hype man. Come on. Your own hype man. Your own amen corner. Listen. All right. What's up, Rhonda? Listen. But yeah, I'm just grateful to be here with my family. For sure. Grateful to be here. Because my daughter, she could have not have a mama. And Kenny would have been a single father. Single mother. But God was like, because I know, Indeed. Shaquana is his wife. We ain't about to go through this a third time. Because I would have been in that casket and somebody would have rubbed my husband's back and I would have popped up. He is still married. Not just physical death. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get ready. Amen to that. Amen. For sure. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. It's been an hour and a half. I know. We're about to feed her, get her to bed. You're cover the show. And find something to watch on Netflix. Oh, Lord. We love y'all so much. Thank you again for your concern and love and all of that. What's up, Archie? Continue to pray for us. Yeah, because we mean Jesus. We mean Jesus every step of the way. And I'm serious. I don't care about yesterday or whatever. Like, we mean Jesus. Seriously. Yeah. And we can't wait to love on you when it's safe to love on each other and not put our
baby at risk of any other infections, different things like that.
Yeah. So soon, of course, I'm on maternity leave until March. So I'm still gonna be in hibernation. Groundhog Day, we're gonna see what that little animals say if we're gonna do 6 more weeks of winter. Stay inside or coming out early.
But anyway,
we
appreciate y'all, seriously.
We plan on having her. You guys are all invited to her christening service. It will be in March at our church. We don't know the date yet. It depends on her christening dress and
depends on the christening dress.
Well,
it just depends on the speaker's timing and all that. But we'll definitely keep you all posted. We'd love for you all to come.
Who's speaking?
In March as well, we're gonna have. I'm not speaking in. March as well, we're gonna have our grand opening for our building as well. So y'all can come to that at our church. We're already in the new building. Working on a few things, just gearing up for the official opening. 12400
Amherst Drive, Suite 108.
So come check us out. Come worship with us. Like
every Sunday at 3:00 p.m. I won't be there yet, but still come.
But I'll be there going forward.
Yes, he'll be there.
And yeah, so on emergency call, and trust me, I will walk out of a sermon if there is an emergency and get to my wife. I told the church that a couple of weeks ago, and they understood the assignment. So if let me hurry up and get off. So if I do walk out and have to take care of business, they know what to do. Amen. But we love y'all, and we're gonna go ahead and get ready to get off of here. All right, Jen, can't wait to see you, girl. Love y'all. Yeah, I think that's it. You have anything else? You about to cry?
I'm trying to think.
I think that's it.
Got released from the hospital. Everything's good. My mom's been a great help.
And that's Haps. That's why I have not been able to be on like I wanted to. Just too many changes and things. So I'm glad y'all came on today.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it, man.
All right, well, everybody, let's just spit some prayer.
Go ahead, you pray, woman of God.
Dear God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for this evening spent sharing with your people, sharing our testimony, God. We pray that it blessed everyone. Those who were able to watch it live, and even those who will watch the replay, God, I just pray that they are filled with hope, knowing that, God, you still work miracles, you still perform miracles, that we haven't lost our hope in you, Lord. And so we just thank you, God, for being a great God. We thank you for your resurrecting power. We thank you for your love. We thank you for laughter, that we were able to share this without not crying, but able to just share and laugh.
Sorrow. Yeah.
Even when it feels like, wow, they went through a lot. Yes, we did. But we actually have God on our side. And as long as we have him, we have everything that we need. And so, God, we just bless you. We pray that everyone have a good night's rest.
Yes, Lord.
Continue to strengthen us through this journey. Strengthen us, God, as we wait. Strengthen us as we continue to trust in you, God. Continue to just bless us. And keep your hand of protection over us, God. I rebuke anything that is not like you. I pray that everyone has a good night's rest. No nightmares, no night terrors. Bless us all, God. And we ask all these things in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
God wants y'all to know it's not over.
Amen. Indeed.
It's not over.
It's not over, Lisa. It's not over.
Come on. You better share. You better share.
Yeah.
And God said, to us and to y'all, some people have prophesied over y'all. Go back to those prophecies and go listen to them again. Go get reminded again. God is whatever God said he was going to do, he is going to do in his timing. Amen. And that goes for us too. We're going to spend, not tonight, but tomorrow night, just going back, listening to old prophecies that we've recorded and that we have written. And also, prophesy over yourself. Some of y'all be waiting on someone to share a word. Prophesy over yourself.
Prophesy over y'allself. That Texas mixed with Arkansas. Texas and Arkansas.
Texarkana.
Whatever
Texarkana.
Texarkana, yeah.
But yes, prophesy over yourself. Speak a word over yourself.
Do it,
Sometimes
for
y'all
real.
be looking for someone to speak to y'all. Speak over
Be a prophet
yourself.
of your home.
Come on, be the priest of your home.
Indeed.
Whew, let's go.
All right, y'all. She has had human interaction, and so
I
she's
haven't
eating
had
this.
any.
She's eating all of this up. So
My husband got to go to church. I'm just
she
sitting
probably
at the
gonna be
house.
sitting here talking about she's gonna watch Netflix and gonna be asleep.
No, I'm not, because I took a long nap.
You did though. All right, we love y'all. Let's get off of this. Talk to y'all
Get
later.
up off of that thing.
God bless you. Here we go. See, you see what I got to do with this aftermath. Love y'all. Have a good night.
Good night, y'all.